How's it going, everyone? It's Taz from Pair Digital, and in this video, my colleague Rob, who heads up all our Google Ads accounts for our clients, he's going to go through how to read the data and understand your Google Ads account so you can scale it like a pro. So in this video, it's going to be jam-packed full of details. So close all your tabs, get your cup of coffee or whatever, sit down and learn this, because by implementing what Rob is about to show you, you are going to definitely scale your Google Ads like a pro. So this will be part 5 in our How to Do Your Google Ads series. So without further ado, let's get into it.
G'day everyone, it's me again, Rob, your Google Ads expert at Pair Digital. Hope all is well. So in this video today, we're going to discuss about optimization, scaling, and reading the data like a pro, turning Google Ads into a predictable revenue channel for you. You see, most UK business owners or advertisers look at their Google Ads dashboard like a fruit machine. They pull the lever and hope for a win. But top-tier e-commerce brands treat it like a predictable revenue engine. So today I'm going to show you the exact framework we use to read the data, plug the leaks, and scale without breaking the algorithm. We're going to talk about what to optimize weekly versus monthly in your ad account and campaigns, using GA4 or Google Analytics 4 to spot hidden leaks, scaling winners without resetting performance, and knowing when to kill campaigns and when to push harder. And first, we're going to talk about what to optimize weekly versus monthly in your Google Ads account or your campaigns. Now, in terms of optimization, you don't want to overmanage. If you touch your account or your campaigns too often, it never learns. First, I want to discuss about the weekly optimization practices, or the health check as we call it, that you would like to look after in your account. So you see, if you're checking your account every hour, you're over managing. And if you're checking it once a month, you're basically just losing money. So to print revenue, you need a weekly health check. And this is where we fine tune the engine without disrupting the AI's learning process. So first, I'd like to talk about the search terms report. And first, let me show you where to get there. So for example, you are on your search campaign. You just need to click on Insights and Reports, click on the drop down, and here you'll find search terms. So before I move forward, so you can review your search terms report no matter what campaign type you're using. You're either using a search campaign, Performance Max, or a standard shopping campaign. Search terms report would be available for you to review. And from here, you can adjust the date range. So say, for example, that you've already reviewed the search terms report for the whole month of January, so you can adjust the date for this month of February, for example. Now, for search terms, first we look at search terms like if you're spending amount of money or budget for terms like free or cheap, when we're actually a premium brand, and if you're not offering anything like a free service or a free product. So if you're also showing up for Amazon or Argus, for example, for reviews, so what we do is we harvest those and, for example, take on the boxes and add them as negative keywords. And going back, like I said, if you're, for example, showing generating search queries that includes the word free or cheap, or in fact you don't offer cheap or free products, what we do for those is we immediately add them to our account level negative list. So to do that, you can go ahead and click on all campaigns, and from here you can click on audiences, keywords, and content. Click on the drop down, and from there you click on keywords, go to negative keywords. So say, for example, like I said, free and cheap is not something that you don't want your ads to show up for. Just click on the plus sign, and here is where you enter a broad match word that says free and cheap. So when you save that, you can click on all the campaigns where you want to add them. So basically what's going to happen is that your ad will be prevented from showing on the results online for any query or search term that includes these words, free and cheap. So that way, we can prevent getting irrelevant clicks that will only waste your campaign's budget. So search terms is one of the main optimization and review that we do weekly for all the campaigns that we are managing. Now, the next thing that I'd like to discuss and what we always check is budget pacing. So let's go to the campaigns tab for you to have an overview. This is for you to see the overall budget that you have in the account per day and the individual budgets of each of the campaigns that you are currently running in the account. Now, for budget pacing, we call this the fuel gauge. You see, in the UK market, consumer behavior fluctuates on paydays and bank holidays because it can cause massive spend spikes. Now, the Google's 2026 monthly spend rule means that it can spend up to 2 times your daily budget on a busy day. Now, say for example that this campaign, the search campaign has a budget of £15 a day and it's a Black Friday sale. So Google can potentially spend up to £30 per day, which is 2 times this budget, to prioritize and to actually maximize the trend or the spike in traffic, and that would help the campaign to generate as much to accommodate as much traffic available to generate as much revenue and conversions for you from this campaign. Now, as long as it averages out over 30.4 days of total spend from your campaign's daily budget. So, for example, £15 per day times 30.4 days, that would be an average monthly spend or budget of about $456 for this campaign with a £15 daily budget. Now, say for example that we've already spent 70% of this campaign's budget, $456 a month. So that's going to be a problem because we either need to throttle back on the target ROAS of this campaign, that is to slow down the spend. Or we can go back to the client with a data back case to increase the budget because the demand is there. So say for example, this campaign, if this has been performing consistently with a spike in traffic and conversions in the recent weeks, while the campaign status is indicated that it's being limited by budget. So those are good indicators that there is more room to scale the campaign, and increasing the budget most often than not provides or generates positive results for this campaign. And also, one thing that I'd like you to always remember is you don't want your best performing campaigns to hit their cap per se around 1 or 2 p.m. during the day. So let's say this is your top performing campaign, generating you the most sales and revenue in the account. So you don't want your budget for this campaign being consumed on the first part of the day, because what's going to happen is that that is revenue left on the table because your ads will no longer show for the remainder of the day because the budget is already spent. So especially most commonly, traffic and sales are being generated during the evening when people are already at home after their work or their busy days, where or when they have more time to actually browse through products or services they want to look for or purchase. So you want to make sure to monitor this weekly budget and status so that you could implement gradual budget increases accordingly for each of your campaigns in the account. And finally, we audit asset performance, which we call the creative audit. Now, let's pull up a Performance Max campaign. Now, in PMax or Performance Max, to check the details for the performance data of your text ads and ad assets, you need to go to under the campaigns tab, go to asset groups right here. And if you are seeing this version, just click on summary for it to be on this dashboard. And what you want to do is on a particular asset group that you want to review, on the far right, you can click on view details, and you want to make sure that you have enough data to review. So let's adjust that. Okay, now, in 2026, creative is the new targeting. So Google gives every text ad like headline, long headlines and description, and images as well, or video, a performance rating of low, good, or best. Now, in some cases, like on this account, that performance rating may not be visible, but that's fine. If it doesn't show on your end as well, you just need to rely on the traffic and conversion data and all other metrics in this dashboard. So what you want to do is you can adjust the metrics from highest to lowest clicks or conversions, whatever you prefer. Now, in my case, for example, you are getting good traffic and engagement in some of your text ads or ad assets like images or videos. So what you want to do is you want to ruthlessly cut the low performance. So for me, if let's say a text ad or image has over 2,000 to at least 3,000 impressions and a good number of clicks, if you have no conversions or revenue out of those traffic, then that simply means that the market has spoken, and those text ads and ad assets like images or videos are simply not resonating. So what you want to do, as what I do, is I'll swap it out for a new text ad or product image that we haven't used yet, or maybe a UGC style video or a lifestyle shot specific to the current UK season. So, for example, if it's raining in London for 2 weeks straight, my assets better show our products in that context. And we keep the best assets and we iterate on the rest. And that keeps the ad fatigue away and keeps our click through rate high. So, as you can see here, um, these are the top text ads and ad assets that were currently in use in this PMAX campaign. And as you can see, it's generating good conversions and revenue with a return of at least 4.58x up to 10.64 and even up to 18.49x. So we're using good text ads and assets here. So what you want to do is filter this out and replace those low performing ad assets or text ads. And also, you can scroll down to the very bottom. You can also even filter this out by asset type here. So all the images, call out assets, set links, structured snippets, headlines, so on and so forth. So here. Now you see, optimization isn't about making hundreds of changes in your account or campaign. It's about making the three right changes that we have discussed. And that is by cleaning your search terms report, pacing your budgets properly, and refreshing your assets weekly. You are giving the Google's AI the high quality fuel that it needs to keep that revenue printing. So now, if weekly optimization is about tuning the engine, monthly optimization is about remapping the course. So every 30 days, we step back from the daily noise to look at three high-level levers, and that will be ROAS targets or return on ad spend targets, location performance, and our competitor landscape. So this is how we ensure that your budget is following the profit, not just the clicks. So for the monthly checkups or account health check, that will be the strategic pivot. So first, let's talk about ROAS targets. So let's go there, campaign settings, to look up the current bid strategy of an individual campaign. So with ROAS targets, first we audit our return on ad spend targets at least once a month. So right here. So I look at the conversion delay, how long it actually takes a UK shopper to buy after clicking. And if we hit our targets consistently for 30 days, we'll ask, can we push for more volume? Now, if we have extra budget, I might lower the ROAS target by 5 to 10%. Why? That is to give the Google's AI more room to find new customers for you. Now, conversely, if margins are tightening, then we'll increase the target to prune away low efficiency spend. Now, always remember the golden rule for bid adjustments or target ROAS adjustments. Never move this target more than 20% in a single month. So like we previously discussed, ideally, you only want to adjust this about 5 to 15%. So max 20%, but just to be on the safe side, 5 to 15%. So you want to make small incremental shifts, and that is to keep the AI stable while we hunt for the perfect balance of volume and profit for your performance max campaigns. And to add on that, like we previously discussed on the previous videos, you want to review the performance data first of your campaign for, let's say, the last 2 to 3 months, and the most recent actual ROAS in the last 30 days so that you can base your new bid adjustment on the actual numbers from your campaign. Next, we dive into location analysis. So to find that, under a campaign, just click the drop down for insights and reports. go to where and when and where ads showed, and you can click on match locations for the data for your targeted locations. So here, say, select, take a look at the last 30 days. Now, in the UK, by the way, buying habits in central London are vastly different from those in the Scottish Highlands or in the Midlands. So what I do monthly is I check which counties or cities are printing and which are bleeding. So in this case, this account or campaign is targeting different countries. So, for example, if I see that Singapore it has a 10.7 ROAS, while another country, per se, Hong Kong, is has a return of 3.7 ROAS. I don't just hope it gets better. So in search campaigns, what we can do is we can apply bid adjustments. In PMax, Performance Max, like this campaign, we use this data to inform our next asset group, perhaps, using localized imagery or messaging that resonates specifically with our high-performing countries or target locations. So we put the fuel where the fire is already burning. And finally, we check the auction insights. So to get there, so same location under insights and reports, go to auction insights right here. So you can simply adjust date, and here, so last 30 days. So this is our competitive rater, and we check here if we want to see who is stepping onto our turf, who is, let's say, outbidding us this month. Is it a new competitor or an old one being aggressive? Now, you want to focus on these three columns: impression share, overlap rate, and outranking share. Now, what we look for is if we are seeing a new high street brand with a high overlap rate, that means that they are bidding on our exact same audience. And if our outranking share is dropping, it's a red flag that our competitors are getting more aggressive with their bids, or their ad quality is improving. Now we use this monthly check to decide if we need to freshen up to freshen up our offers or protect our brand terms more aggressively. And in 2026, you can't just ignore the competition. You have to out strategize them. And also, one practice that I do is look for a competitor with a high overlap rate. So in this case, this farfetch.com or this competitor has the biggest overlap rate among the other competition. So what you want to do here is basically we're showing up together 43.40% of the time. So my next move would be to go to their website and see what their current offers are, and make sure that our ad copy offers something even better for the UK customers, so we can match their offer for their customers. And monthly optimization is what separates ad managers from growth partners. So we don't just watch the numbers; we interpret the market, and by adjusting targets, refining locations, and monitoring rivals or competition, we ensure that your Google Ads account remains a competitive weapon for your business. Now I want to discuss about using GA4 or Google Analytics 4 to spot hidden leaks. Now you can have the best Google Ads campaigns in the UK, but if you're sending high quality traffic to a leaky website, you're just lighting money on fire. So let me open up GA4 or Google Analytics 4, and I'm going to show you three hidden leaks that are likely killing your ROAS before the customer even sees your product. So what you want to do is when you log into your GA4 account, go to reports, and from here, you want to go under Drive Sales, look for Purchase Journey right here. So here, this is the data that you need to review. Now, mind you, if Google Ads tells you how people arrive, GA4 tells you why they don't buy. Now, first, we look at the purchase journey right here. So what I'm going to be looking for specifically is the gap between begin checkout right here and the final purchase. Now, in the UK, if this drop off, for example, is higher than 70%, so in this case, it's not. So if the gap is more than 70% or something higher, then something is wrong at the finish line. So you might want to check if is it an expected shipping cost? Does your checkout require a mandatory account creation, or are you missing popular UK payment methods like, let's say, Apple Pay or Klarna? The strategy for that is that if the ads are getting people to the checkout page, but the site isn't closing the deal, we don't fix the ads. We fix the checkout friction. Then after that, next we check device performance. UK traffic will come from mobile or mobile device, but you want to ask, does your mobile conversion rate actually match up? So to view the report on that, so it's still the same on the reports. You want to go to under user. So if it's not showing, just click on the drop down here, go to tech, click on the drop down and click on tech details right here. And then from here, you want to scroll down and you need to change the primary dimension to device category. So right here. So here, now what you want to look for is the conversion rate metric. If it's not showing, click on the pencil icon right here on the upper right to customize the report. And then from here, you need to look for here metrics. Click on the drop down. Then you want to click on add metric. And you need to look for the conversion rate. So it's actually session key event rate rather. It has been updated this 2026. So just click on session key event rate, click on apply. And back here, you want to make sure that you selected the device category. And then again, look for session key event rate. This is the conversion rate. All right. So um, in this case, so the conversion rates for the different device types are actually in good condition, and that is because we are optimizing this. But to just give you an example, let's say, for example, that that we are seeing a let's say a 3% conversion rate for desktop device, but we're only getting, let's say, 0.5% on your mobile device. So most commonly or usually mobile device is will have the highest conversion rate, so that will be common. So per se that you got 3% conversion rate on desktop only and 0.5% on mobile device, then that is a massive leak. So it usually means that your mobile site is hard to navigate, hence the low conversion rate for the mobile device. And or maybe your add to cart button is buried below the fold when customers access your website through their mobile phones. So the strategy for that is with Google Ads, it it treats a click as a click. So regardless of the device. So if your mobile site is underperforming, we either need to optimize the mobile UX immediately or adjust our campaign bids to favor the device that actually make you money. And finally, let's talk about landing page latency or simply speed. So we also call landing page latency the silent killer. So to get there, let me show you first. You need to go to reports, still under your GA4. And then from here, you need to look for view user engagement and retention. So click on the drop down. You want to go to pages and screens. So from here, okay, and in a world of 5G and fiber, UK shoppers have zero patience. And if your page takes longer than 3 seconds to load, 50% of your paid traffic will bounce before the tracking pixel even fires. So this is your average engagement time. This is where you will see it. This is the web page. This is the average engagement time per active user average. Now, if a page has high views, so you may want to remember this, let's say if a web page has a high view count but an extremely low engagement time, so that would mean about I mean, for example, 2 to 4 seconds engagement time. That would often mean that the page is so slow that users are bouncing before they even see the content. Now on this report, what you want to do is look for pages with a high bounce rate. This is the bounce rate column. So again, if you don't see this here, all you need to do is click on the pencil icon on the upper right corner. This will be the drop down, and just need to add a metric. And you need to look for bounce rate for it to be able to see this. All right, so here again, you need to look for the web page that has high bounce rates with low average engagement time, because often if that is what you're going to see, it's because of oversized images or too many heavy Shopify apps. That's the most common cause or causes. So the strategy for that is, every second of delay is about a 20% drop in conversion. So we make sure to use this data to tell our developers exactly which landing pages need a speed diet to protect our ad spend. Now, you see, Google Ads brings the horse to water, but GA4 tells you why it won't drink. So, by fixing your checkout, balancing your device performance, and killing latency, you aren't just saving money. You're making your Google Ads budget work twice as hard. And the next thing that we want to discuss is scaling winners without resetting performance. And speaking of winners, we're talking about your top performing or top converting campaigns in your account. You see, scaling is a marathon, not a sprint. And what I want you to remember is the 20% vertical scale, as we call it. So, as you've discussed earlier, never increase your campaign budget by more than 20% every 3 to 5 days. And also, one thing about scaling strategy that we do is what we call horizontal scaling. So instead of just throwing money at one campaign, you may want to launch a new campaign targeting a different audience signal or a different product category. So as an example, so this account or this client, so we identified before that their collections such as the perfumes and fragrances were actually generating them good return, but because certain products or collections in their main catch-all performance max campaign was actually overperforming this, and what was happening was these products or collections were being left out, deprived of budget. So what we did is we allotted this collection its own campaign in the account, and as we can see now, it has one of the highest conversion rates and conversions and revenue generated all time. So also about the target ROAS level. So for example, let me just go back there. Campaign settings. So we're going to talk about target ROAS for the bid strategy of each of campaigns. Now, to scale, sometimes you have to lower your target ROAS slightly. So you can't expect, let's say, your 1,000 customer to be as cheap to find as the first customer that you have generated in this campaign. You need to keep that in mind. So at times, in order to get more volume, you must give the AI more room to bid. So from time to time, you would need to adjust your campaign's target ROAS by at least 5 to 15% at a given time for the restriction to for the campaign's targeting to a little bit loose, for the campaign to have more freedom of bidding more during auctions to generate more traffic, reach more customers, and generate more conversion value for your business. And now let's discuss about knowing when to kill campaigns and when to push harder. So first, let's know when to kill. Now, knowing when to kill a campaign is about protecting your capital. So we look for 3 red light signals over a 30, 60, and 90-day window, never just 1 week or 1, 2, or 3 weeks. It's never going to be enough data for you to make a decision. So now, one thing you need to remember is the spend to revenue gap. So, for example, if a campaign has spent 3 times your target CPA or cost per acquisition, what you're willing to pay for one sale, and still it has delivered 0 conversions, it's a red light. So, the intent isn't there. So, that's one red light that you want to look for. Then, another thing is what we call the zombie status. So, in Performance Max, if let's say you have 100 products, but Google is only spending on 2 of them, while the others get, let's say, 0 impressions or 0 traffic at all. We don't kill the whole campaign immediately. So what we do is we do a restructure, And we moved those neglected products into a zombie campaign with no ROAS target to force the AI to test them. So like what we did with this campaign, like I said, this uh, the collection for their perfumes and fragrances was from their catch-all campaign, and it was being deprived of budget. So we created its own campaign with no target ROAS. Then after it generated enough conversion data, then we have switched to a maximized conversion value with target ROAS bid strategy for that campaign. Now, lastly, would be the last red light that you want to look for is what we call the efficiency decay. So let's say your ROAS has been declining for 3 consecutive months despite creative refreshes, like adding new text ads from time to time, adding new ad assets like callouts, image assets or whatnot. So it's time to pause and rethink the product market fit rather than just bidding higher or you know um, putting more money in that specific campaign. So as an example for this campaign, the client really wanted to push for their new added collections and products for bird and wildlife care. So we did our very best in terms of managing this specific campaign to push for these products. 1 to 3 months, we've been adding different text ads, image assets, whatnot. Unfortunately, it's just not that profitable compared to their main product, which was actually fertilizer. So as we can see, the average return on ad spend for this campaign was 88% for the last 3 months. So we ended up deciding to discontinue this campaign and just focus on their top sellers. But still, we decided to include these products in their catch-all campaign so that at least it is still eligible to show on their shopping ads and not be left out. Now, on the flip side, most brands are actually underscaling their winners. So we look for these green light signals to know if it's time to push hard. Now, I look at the loss impression share due to budget. So this is that metric. Now, if your ROAS is healthy, say a 9.6 return on ad spend, but let's say you're losing 20% of the market because your budget is too low, that is a green light. You aren't spending more, you're buying more of a proven profit. So as you can see here, this Performance Max campaign currently has a bid strategy of a target return on ad spend of 939%. So as we can see, even if it's been losing by 20.40% on its search lost impression share due to budget, it still has a return on ad spend of 9.6, which is still way over its current bid strategy and target ROAS. And with that being said, it's time for you to scale the campaign. So always remember the 20% scaling rule that we discussed on the previous videos. Now, when we push, we need to do it in increments. So we increase the budget by, aside from the target ROAS, we also do incremental increase for the daily budget of each campaign in your account. So you ideally need to increase the budget by at least or maximum 20% every 4 to 7 days. All right. So that would keep the AI stable. And after that update or budget increase, if the ROAS of that particular campaign stays steady at the new spend, then we go again. So that is how you scale from, let's say, £10,000 a month um, average revenue to £20,000 in revenue average per month without crashing the campaign. Now, another green light that we look for before we initiate or implement a budget increase or a target ROAS adjustment to further scale the campaign is the click share. So it's the column here on the performance reports under campaigns. So if your click share, let's say, is low, so in this case, just to let you know, the click share is high and conversion rate is lower than the click share. So obviously, we cannot just yet increase the budgets or make adjustments to the target ROAS of the campaigns to scale the campaign further. So as an example, that the click share is lower, but your conversion rate is high. So if that happens, it means people that love your product. So you're not showing up enough if that happens. or those are the metrics that you are seeing. So that is when we push the bids here to dominate the shelf. So that is one green light that you also want to look for in your campaigns. Now, you see, the secret to scaling isn't always a bigger budget. It's conviction. And when the data gives you a green light or green lights, you have to be brave enough to push. And of course, when the data shows a red light or red lights, you have to be disciplined enough to cut. So that balance is what builds a seven-figure e-commerce brand. You may want to cut on your budget or on your target return on ad spend, depending on the actual performance of your campaigns in your Google Ads account. Now, keep in mind that data is just noise until you have framework to read it. If you're looking at your dashboard and you aren't sure whether to scale up or shut down, that's where we come in. We don't just manage ads. We engineer growth for UK commerce brands. If you're interested or have questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you all for watching. Until next time.
That was fantastic. So big, massive thank you to Rob. So if you're an e-commerce brand and you're struggling with your Google ads and you want to make sure that your ads are being run profitably, effectively, and you're actually making some money, then if you're spending over £3,000 a month, then down below there's a link. Click on that link, book in a call with me, and we can sit down, have a chat, and run through your account and see what we can do to help you. And if you really like this video, please share it with other people that you know who are struggling with their Google ads. Give it a like, give it a subscribe on the channel. And if you have any questions at all, drop a comment down below. I'll do my best to respond to any comments that come across. Again, see you on the next video.